marching band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the speed metal kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Wednesday evening has arrived once again, and that means it's time for us to get together as the Auburn family. It is Auburn Family Night, so let's get into it. All of the things that you want to discuss in the Auburn experience, your comments, questions, topics, and calls, all that's coming up right now. War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days, all the different places, formats, times with which you can consume this content. We appreciate you being here and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Here we talk about that Auburn experience. It's all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff, an easier way to say it. If it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to get into this evening. As is typically the case on Wednesday evenings, this is all about you, the Auburn family specifically, but even more specifically, the best little family within the Auburn family, that being the E2C Network family. We appreciate you guys joining us this evening, and we'd love to interact and talk with you about whatever you'd like to do for our about hour and change, usually, time period that we are together. So join in the chat. There are a plethora of things to talk about in the Auburn experience this evening. Basketball abounds, a big matchup on Saturday. We were inching ever closer to spring football. There are baseball and softball is underway. Baseball is about to get underway. There are non-Auburn sports topics to discuss. Really, you've got your pick of the litter in terms of what you want to discuss. But how can you help us out getting started on a good note? First of all, let us know you're here. Post in the chat where you're watching from, your city, your state, international. If you're international, smash that like button. It is a huge help for us. Lets people know that we're live so they can join in on the conversation. And certainly be interactive throughout the chat. Let us know what's on your mind, what you want to discuss, and take advantage of our call-in link this evening, which is now going to officially be available for anybody to take advantage of. It is available on specifically YouTube. Should be somewhere in the comments on Facebook, Twitter. I think you're out of luck. So if you want to call in, you'll have to come to at least YouTube side of things. It is pinned to the top of the chat, or it should be up there. Don't be shy. Take advantage of that this evening. It is always a good opportunity for you to get on here and share a little bit more about what's on your mind, what's on your souls, what's on your hearts in the Auburn experience. And certainly we'll take your direction on where we need to go in our conversation this evening. We'll go ahead and give some shout outs as you guys get geared up and things like that. Kevin's here, WT. We've got Football Breeze. Bryant is here. Good to see all of you. Thanks for checking in early. We got Stan. So many people checking in from all over the place. A little bit of a side note for everybody to know if you're trying to access the call-in link. Apparently, you can do it. It did work through Facebook. I think I remember that correctly now at WT. So it's about time for you to call in again, isn't it? Speaking of which, so you can access it on Facebook as well. It is getting so. Here's the crazy thing, y'all. It is rainy out there. It is also cool where I am, and I thought I was going to be a lot warmer, or excuse me, colder in here, but I'm getting warm. We just started the show, so this y'all could see me start sweating, not just because of what we're talking about, but because of it got a little bit warm in here. The heat's blaring too, so I guess I'll just have to cope. Dustin, good to see you on Facebook. Thanks for checking in with us. We appreciate you being here as well. You guys can start lining up in the phone lines. See a couple of you doing that already. We'll go ahead and get those in just a little bit. Hang tight. We'll cover some bases here first. You said, this is from Football Breeze, I like when you show the NCAA Auburn roster. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but I'm glad that we gave you something of enjoyment there. If you're talking about the video game, that's a long time ago, my friend. But yes, we did a video about that back in the day. Let's see here. This is a great way to start off the show. I just want to go out and say how proud I am of the SEC for going 82-82 in conference play. What's he talking about? So if you missed the news, Carl, what's his name? Anyway, one of the main commentators for basketball these days had a little bit of what he thought was a well thought, profound statement, and unfortunately, he caught the joking, the ire of a lot of college basketball fans, and he had to take his medicine a lot today on social media. Basically, was trying to make the point, hey, look how good the SEC is. They're exactly wins and losses are exactly equal in conference play. Think about that. Just think about that. So anyway, if that's going over your head, he was right there with you, but certainly that's a great thing to bring up. What a statement for the for the conference and all the things like that. All right. Lots of people checking in from all over the place. Don't be shy. Go ahead and get involved in the chat. We want to know what's on your mind, what's on your hearts, and we'll dive into those things. Especially, we'll go ahead and take our first caller this evening. He's already ready to go. What's going on, Kevin?
We're still number one.
Yes, we are still number one. Can't take it away from us until they actually take it away from us. Alabama's got a shot at it this weekend. How you feeling?
I think we go down there and beat them.
Down there is the right word, right? Because it's down. It's awful. It's down in the ground. It's HE double hockey sticks type of stuff.
Because we have good
players.
Good senior leadership.
Senior leadership. Yes, I would agree with you there. I think that's a big X factor for Auburn. Some people would try to use that against us and act like somehow there's people that have been here too long in college. But my statement to all of them, hey, you all can go recruit the same ones we can. So it's up to you. If you didn't do that, that's on you. I agree with you. I like our leadership, whether we're talking about Janai, we're talking about Chad, Chaney,
all Broom.
Yep, all the guys. We've got a lot of upperclassmen leadership. Yep. So you're feeling pretty good about Saturday, huh?
Yeah, I think we will win. It'd be in the 70s.
70s for like both teams?
Or maybe like 75, 66.
75, 66, but you're predicting an Auburn win.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I hope you're right. I said at the beginning of the season, I felt like we would split because we play them twice, that we would lose to them in Tuscaloosa, and we would lose. We would win at home.
When did we play Georgia again?
I think that's coming up pretty soon, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. We've got Alabama this Saturday. Next Wednesday, we have got. Hold on. I'm just blanking on it right now. It's here. It's there. It's coming out. I don't know.
Arkansas.
Thank you. I literally could not get the name Arkansas out of my head. Arkansas. We've got that, and then Saturday we've also got a team, and I think that's Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, because it's either Georgia is right after that or something.
Yeah, Georgia.
Maybe someone in the chat can clarify, but I believe it's Georgia and Ole Miss on that Saturday and midday game. But either way,
my favorite player is Pettiford.
Why is Tahad Pettiford your favorite player?
He looks like KD Johnson.
He looks like KD. I haven't really thought about that.
In the face, he does.
I'm trying to, and I've got KD's face in my mind right now, and I've also got Tahad's. I'll have to look at it a little bit more to see what you're saying there. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I wish we still had Alan Flanagan.
Alan Flanagan?
Yeah, he's good.
Well, he's not playing anymore. At least he's not playing at the college level, and that was it was fun to have him. And I think I certainly wished him all the best when he left to go to it was Ole Miss, yeah. But hey, listen, you know he moved on for a reason. We moved on for the reason. And
I wish we still had Hayden Highway.
Hayden who?
Highway.
Hayden Highway. I have no clue who that is.
He transferred from Auburn to Alabama.
Oh, Aiden
Yeah.
Holloway. Okay, I'm with you now. Sorry. Yeah. Listen, I was happy to have Aiden for the time that we did. I think a lot of people gave him too much flack, but he's
Yeah.
having some success at Alabama. I hope he doesn't have any success versus us, though. I think that's fair to say.
I hope he only have 2 points.
I hope he has 0 points. I
0
hope he
points.
has. I hope he has 0 points. You know, if he's got, listen, I would never wish ill will on someone, but if he wants to, like, you know, fake that he has a stomach bug or something, that I'd be fine with that as well, so that he
Who,
doesn't have to
who,
play.
who do you think guard Mark Sears?
I would bet that's probably going to be Denver. Chad is a little bit taller than Mark Sears, so I don't know if they would put him on him
How
specifically.
about Dylan Cardwell?
Dylan Carwell probably isn't the best one that you want to have go against Mark Sears. Dylan's a center, and
Or
Mark
Janai Broom?
still, Janai would be okay, but I think he's a little bit more mobile than
Denver
Dylan is.
Jones.
But Denver Jones is probably what you're going to see, or a Miles Kelly. I mean, really, it could be any of those two or those three. But certainly, you got to shut Mark Sears down. You got to shut Grant Nelson down. You got to shut Cliff Omer Yuri, however you say his name.
Yeah, they need double. They need double team somebody.
Well, I would imagine there's going to be a few occasions to double team somebody. I just hope that they don't let them get on a roll shooting at home, because if they shoot, you know, I said this a little bit earlier to somebody, that if Alabama shoots close to 40% from the 3-point arc and close to 50% on the day, if not 50%, they'll win the game at home.
What if Auburn comes out, scored 13 points again?
Well, considering how that happened in the last game and it got a little scary, I'm going to hope something different happens. So,
Yeah.
But they're really good offensively. All right, give me who is.
How about our softball team?
I know, off to a great start, and baseball starts this weekend.
They're going to beat Clemson tomorrow.
I hope you're right. I'm excited to start talking about the Diamond Sports.
Hey, is it on TV?
I have no clue. I haven't really looked at it, to be honest with you. But all right, give me one final prediction. You already given us your score for Alabama and Auburn. What I want to know from you is, who is going to be the top scorer for Auburn?
Janai Broom with 30 points.
Janai Broom with 30 points. You heard it here first, folks. Not just 20, but 30 points. That's an awesome prediction. And we also predicted a win versus Alabama in the 70s and Auburn in the 70s, Alabama in the 60s. So we'll see if you're right. I want you back. We won't have a Auburn family night next week because we'll have a basketball game during the show. But
right, yeah.
And I will be on vacation the next week. So when we get together again on Auburn family night in 3 weeks, I want to talk to you about your predictions and see how right you were. Okay.
Okay. War Eagle.
All right, War Eagle, Kevin.
Bye.
Thanks for being here. Bye. All right, that was Kevin. He was one of our regulars, and we really appreciate him being so loyal and faithful and calling in. So you guys can take advantage of it too. And just as a word of advice, you don't have to wait for someone to be done to call in. You can get in line. In fact, I've had like a line that I just had to keep working through before. Because I've seen even people pop in, see somebody was on, and then panic and leave because they thought they weren't supposed to be in we put you in a green room. So don't be worried about that. Come on in. Also, I didn't take the opportunity to thank All Things Auburn. They're not just to clarify, they're not a sponsor, but they are a friend company that I really like to give shout outs to, but I always let them have their title and the title in the call-in reminder down there below you guys. So it's always brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. If you're looking for a great place to stay at Auburn and have a really good Auburn experience, check them out. Miss Tanya and Jeff are some of the best out there. Okay, let's get some comments and questions going here in the chat. Don't be shy. Get rolling here right now. Unbeaten Lake says we need to acknowledge we have our 4th straight season with 10 plus SEC wins. Bruce had 3 straight before 2020 happened. And before that, we only had 1 back-to-back 10 conference win season back in the 70s. Is that for real? If that's legit, Unbeaten Lake, that's bad. Now, listen, Auburn basketball's history is a lot richer than some would have you believe. The glory days before this were Coach Sonny Smith, and talking about the state of Alabama, Coach Wimp Sanderson at the same time. They had some, good teams. That's when Charles and the Persons were here, all of that stuff. So Auburn's got some great history, maybe as the stat, as he's reporting here, says it wasn't all connected together. I think if you look at some of the more prominent things, those times with Coach Sonny Smith, a couple of runs with Coach Cliff Ellis, with the Chris Porter, Mamadou Njai teams, and then the 2000 and I think it was probably 2-3 team, which had your Kyle Davises, which was, growing up, my favorite Auburn basketball player. He had my name, all that stuff. Marco Killingsworth, Lewis Monroe, Marquise Daniels. Obviously, he's now part of the staff on the team. And his daughter plays for Auburn as well, women's basketball, which is pretty awesome. So that's just another little cog in they're an awesome Auburn person, awesome Auburn family. So you had that. I think Jeff Lebo was on the cusp of creating something at least sustainable at Auburn. When they became the number 1 seed in the NIT, it looked like that was the year, and they were near making the tournament. That looked like the year it was going to happen, and then it took a little bit of a downswing. The Auburn Arena was coming at the time and about to be online, and they chose, with the advent of that coming available, to make a change that year, which we all know what happened from that point. We signed up for a guy who blamed winning and losing on the apparel company, which you'll have to explain to me what Bruce has done if that were true. Anyway, so that's out there. Tim, good to see you. War Eagle, thanks for hanging out with us. Unbeaten Lake gave me the opportunity to walk through Auburn basketball history just a little bit with you all this evening. All right. What else? What else is on your minds? Calls, questions, topics. Don't be shy. I see a lot of y'all in there. I know we're at a new time. It's a little bit later, all that stuff, but make sure that you are giving me some stuff to feed off of with you guys, because I want to know what y'all want to talk about this evening. Or else I'm just going to yammer on about the things that I want to discuss. I will tell you, and I hope that our internet stays connected, because it is thundering and lightning outside. I hope everybody's staying safe out there, because where I am, it is cold, but yet thundering and lightning. That's kind of weird. Anyway, holding off the talk for this Auburn and Alabama basketball game for the first 2 days of this week was a task in and of itself. It was rough. Last night on the post-game stream, that's all, of course, everybody wanted to talk about, and look forward to that, and talk about the Alabama game, which I don't know why y'all got all hyped up about that. Y'all knew Alabama was going to win that one. And frankly, it kind of makes it better that they didn't lose, and we didn't lose, and this is their legit 1-2 matchup. First time in SEC history, first time since 2008 that this has occurred. So this is pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome. Devin said this last evening. Says, I'm a little nervous about Saturday. It's going to be tough. And I'll repeat what I said then, Devin, and it's not just to you. And I understand why you're nervous. We're going to their place, all that stuff. But my biggest encouragement to people is just lean into this, man. You don't get to experience this with your team and your rival hardly ever, unless you're Duke in North Carolina. I mean, legitimately, this is the stuff that they experience quite often, and it's kind of special that not only Auburn but Alabama. So I have been chomping at the bit for us to get to this part of the season. It also means that the season is going to be over before you know it, because we've reached this point. But I am so excited that we have arrived at the first matchup of this year, and we are legitimately talking about 1 versus 2. Could not be any better. I mean, I guess if this was the national championship game, which it might be. Think about that, folks. Auburn has played in a bunch of matchups that could have been Final Four, or might be Final Four matchups, or Final 2 matchups. Auburn versus Duke, Auburn versus Alabama, Auburn versus Florida, Auburn versus Tennessee, Auburn versus Purdue, Auburn versus Iowa State. So much has happened this season, and so much to be excited about. So I understand, like, oh, we have a strong chance of losing this one. But I am so excited for it. I couldn't tell you how excited I am for it. Man, it is coming down out there, folks. I know I get distracted a lot in this show because it's so free flowing and stuff like that. But it is odd how it is coming down out there right now. I am so ready for the rain to be done. Okay, Robert has given us a long comment here, so we'll bring it up and see what we can glean from it. Maybe try to give me in bite size next time, but we'll work through it here. Coach Bob Davis in the 70s had a couple of good seasons and started Auburn on the way back to basketball relevancy. We missed the postseason tournaments because it's not too bad, actually, now that I'm reading it. Season tournaments because the NCAA and the NIT were smaller tournaments then, and then the SEC did not have a tournament. So a little bit more history for everybody when we were kind of walking through things. Obviously, I'm only going to be privy to the stuff that I was born in / closer to. But you kind of build the narrative there, Robert, that Auburn has great basketball history. It just wasn't a lot of connective tissue between it. A couple of years gaps maybe left over in between all of that. So thank you for bringing up and reminding people about Coach Bob Davis. You've got Coach Shug Jordan, who coached basketball as well for a little bit back in the time. Look, there's a lot of Auburn history out there. I will quote not quote because it's not a quote, but I will reference my friend Clint Richardson of the Auburn Uniform Database. And one of his biggest pet peeves is that it's not just an Auburn thing. People don't value or know the history of their team, their school, their entity as well as they should have. And that's one of the big things that he loves to talk about. Yes, they caught the championship game in the final two. Thank you, WT. Thank you. I can always count on you. Unbeaten Lake says, if we beat Alabama, that will make up for the Florida loss. Feels like if you want to win the SEC, you need to win a game you have a low chance of winning, which we're given a 52% chance to win. So I don't know where that's from, Unbeaten Lake. I would assume maybe ESPN. Wherever it came from, if someone is giving us a 52% chance to win, given what we've gone through with the loss to Florida, and in some people's opinion that we're not playing as well as they'd like, and how good Alabama is playing, it's at their place, 1 versus 2. What does that tell you about the public, the prognosticators' opinion about this team? It's pretty dang good. The fact that Auburn still is assumed 52% by whatever metric Unbeaten Lake is referencing here, after all that's happened, that shows you the respect that people have. So what it should also tell you is that if Auburn loses this game, as long as it's not an embarrassing loss, it's not the end of the world either. It's not the end of the world. Tim says that our defense will limit their ability to score. Hoping that CBM gets rest and is ready. We need his defense. I forget how many, I could probably look it up for all of you guys if I can manage without getting too distracted here. I think I can do it right here, actually. So he didn't start yesterday. We all know that. Chris Moore, who was our first points of the first and the second half, awesome there, and is still one of the best contributors in ways that don't get enough notice on this team. You don't have successful basketball teams without guys like Chris Moore, in my opinion, and in most people's opinion, I would say. Where are we at? I want to give you guys that little bit of information here. Vanderbilt, here we go. Final stats. Let's look and see what CBM's playing time was. He did not start, so he's going to be listed on the bench. Here we go. Chad Baker-Mazara plays 28 minutes. Your highest minute getter last night was Janai Broom with 30. So if the goal was to rest CBM, we really didn't do it other than having him not start the game. I think what he's dealing with, as coach has expressed, nothing specific, but bumps and bruises, banged up. I would imagine there are things that have been tweaked, things that are not going to be, bad injuries, but are just lingering, making you not as comfortable out there. So I do hope that they have maybe, and I think Coach said as much, limiting him in practice, things like that, to give him some time to get better. Tim thinks that we need to keep the game in the 70 to the 80s to win, kind of referencing what I was, at least that supports what I was suggesting, that if they score, or if they shoot 39% or higher, I know that's very specific, but I'm just, that's what it feels right to me. 39% or higher from the field, from the 3-point arc, they're going to win the game. If they shoot 48% or higher from the field, they're probably going to be in a good position to win the game. That's just my opinion about it. Devin says, hope Aiden Holloway has a terrible day just against us. Good qualify there at the end. Obviously, if you're a decent person, you're not going to wish true ill will on the kid. He is a kid after all. He's a very easily influenced kid. I think he was sold a dream by Alabama's coach Nate Oates, and he's having success right now. But listen, I don't want to. I wouldn't even prefer he didn't play. I said if he gets scared and wants to have a little stomach bug, that's fine with me. Yes, there's a good reminder that, and that was from a teammate, I believe, by accident, took an elbow to the face. So I'd imagine he's just not feeling great, over the last couple of games and days. The fouls will be critical for both teams. Well, yeah, they typically are. But in relation to Auburn, so I talked about, this is kind of the keys of the game thing. So I talked about Alabama shooting at home, what could be tips them over the scale. I'm going to say the same thing for Auburn, but from the free throw line, and I'm going to counter in all those the big three. What are they, folks? Free throws, turnovers, rebounds. But from the free throw line, Auburn's got to find a way to shoot 80%, because even if you don't get a lot of opportunities at the free throw line, if you're shooting 80%, let's say you get 10 free throw opportunities, that's 8 extra points that could have swayed things, that could have altered a momentum piece, slowed things down, and capitalized off of something, made it more frustrating, extend the lead a little bit more. So fouls are critical in all aspects, not just the fact of us fouling too much, them not fouling, or them not getting fouls called on them, whatever. Got to take advantage of every opportunity here. All right, so Bryant has given us the full clarification on I'm guessing the fan vote or whatever it's put out there on ESPN. 52.4 for Auburn, Alabama 47.6. I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people built up Alabama too quickly in the preseason, and I think that's what's kind of keeping, even in this moment, people from putting them as a win on like the predictor or whatever it is on ESPN right now. But it's going to be a close one, as you can tell. Corey wants to switch gears for a second. So we'll come back to a bunch of different things. DJ Durkin is now the second highest paid assistant in the nation now. Number one is the guy that left Ohio State to go to Penn State. Now, let me preface what Corey said here. We don't know that that's actually official. The reports from a Freedom of Information request is out there from several sites, so you can pretty much take that to the bank. But I do want to acknowledge that there's nothing been reported from Auburn, nothing been shared from that in that regard. So keep that in mind, that we are still operating off of the assumption of what's been reported and stuff like that. But that's not even the main importance of all this. He deserved it, did he not? Would anybody like to say that DJ Durkin didn't deserve to be kept around after what he has put together with the young players that he is getting out there and getting them to contribute and win all SEC, all freshman teams so early? I think he does. Let's see here. Desperado's talking a little bit about CBM. Is there something that you're wanting to get across with that? Because I have to always kind of edit things a little bit on the fly and choose whether to bring things up. Not because people can read the chat, obviously, but I just don't know that what I'm trying to get, what your point is about what you're saying here. Is it about something wrong there or something like that. But please, yeah, give me some clarification. We can certainly talk about what you're looking to get across to the audience there about CBM. Unbeaten Lake says, if I'm Holloway, I'm staying on the opposite side of the court at all times from Cardwell and CBM. Why Cardwell? What's Cardwell going to do to him? Cardwell's like the nicest guy ever. I mean, he can dunk it really, really well and could dunk it on him. But my goodness, Chad, yes. Chad's going to have it out for him. Imagine if Katie was still here. Katie and Chad going after him together. I still love that image and that shot of Katie just frustrating Mark Sears to no end last time they played. It was awesome. Let's see here. If this is from WT, do you think that it will impact the game that Alabama is second in the SEC in terrible arenas? How about this? No, I look, you're not going to get me going on it again of how much I hate. Yeah, you are. I hate the Vanderbilt's Memorial Coliseum. It's just, it's awful. And they have the second worst, but it's still so much better than what Vanderbilt has. And that's getting me to say anything positive about Alabama is pretty good there. I think this is beast. Durkin is a beast with a defense. DJ's awesome, great recruiting. I can't wait to see how this year's defense. The offense is where our concern is, and that's fair. Obviously, there was a little bit more security with what we saw from the defense. But listen, I think time heals everything, and I like that we have a security, at least right now, what we can assume is a security blanket in our defense. I really think that's deserved for DJ, assuming all the reports are true and things like that. All right, Jamie, are you a Bama fan or just an Auburn fan with a view that Alabama is going to win? Give me some clarification there, Jamie. Forgive me if you've been here before, but I don't recognize you right offhand. So Bama 104, Auburn 81. That's quite an interesting take. I'm going to vehemently disagree with that. I do think it'll be in the higher scoring realm, but not in the 100s. Okay, so I'll bring it up, but obviously I always ask that you keep in mind that players and coaches and all this stuff do sometimes check in on these things, believe it or not. So we always want to be careful about what we're talking about. I think here's what I'm going to say about, we ran into this with KD a lot in CBM. I think people see what they want to see. We ignore what we don't want to work away from our narrative. Chad is an interesting guy, and he has a lot of energy, a lot of fight, and a lot of heart. And certainly if you're on the opposite side of him, he's a very frustrating guy and a guy you look to nitpick about. And I can say you can do that as a fan as well of the team, but I think sometimes we over focus on these things. Chad has been very much banged up. Bruce Pearl has openly talked about this. So I think you may be reading a little bit too much into that. And probably seeing what you want to see about it, but it's your opinion, let's see here. Corey says Auburn will have to tighten up their shots. Can't be missing shots like they've been like what they've been during the last couple of games. Yeah, I mean, I don't care if we're playing at Coleman, if we're playing at Texas, if we're playing at Georgia. If you're playing on the road in the SEC, you have to take advantage of every single opportunity you can. And when you're playing a team like Alabama, who's known more so maybe for their offense, you know that they're probably going to get theirs. So you got to make sure you keep up with that. Literally said what are you stealing my keys to the game, Bryant? This is literally what I said. Maybe we just great minds think alike and all that. That's fun. Let's see here. Holloway said something about how Alabama's bigs were better. I don't think Cardwell would take that lightly. Okay, this is going back to you saying he needs to stay on the away from Cardwell. were better than that. I don't think Cardwell would take that lightly, and neither would Broom. Here's the great thing about having older guys is they tend, I will say, to have more maturity about them and recognize that this is a kid that is very emotional about what he did or didn't get at Auburn, is going to say things that are convenient and that you probably would only say because you're now on their team. Listen, I played basketball with the best of them, and you might give a little extra hip check here and there just to send a little bit of message. I'm okay with that. Just don't get the fouls called on you. It happens for everybody. Nothing dirty, but sure, you run your mouth, you run the risk of having your mouth shut up. But I'm also not going to focus about that too much. Jamie says that Bama's too fast for Auburn. So I'm taking that Jamie is a Bama fan, especially with the spelling. Maybe not. I know we're just having fun here. Look, they might be. Of course, I've heard other teams and other fan bases say that as well, and it's proven not to be true. One of the great things about Auburn is that when they have a deficiency somewhere, they make it up either as an individual or as a team. So I'm going to lean heavily on that. Auburn can control the pace of the play if they want to. Let's see here. Huggy Man, I don't know what you're getting at in the chat. That's why we haven't brought up a lot of things. I do see a War Eagle there, so War Eagle to you, but not understanding what you're getting at there, man. All right, a couple more comments are rolling through here. I'll take those, but do take advantage of our call-in link. We've already heard from Kevin tonight. Love to hear from some of you all. I know it's a little on the later side for some of you, but give it a shot. I promise it's not that difficult. Just hit the link and put your name in, and then you can either be on camera or off camera. It's your choice. We'd love to hear from you this evening. Let's see. Where are we at? WT puts it this way. Coach Pearl is all about players playing their game within reason. I highly doubt that Coach Pearl would put a leash on CBM. Well, I would say that they would probably put a leash on him, but to within reason, right? Coach has been doing this a long time. If there's any player that has prepared Coach for Chad Baker-Mazara, it is KD Johnson. That man is a psychopath in a good way. And what Coach had to do with him over the last several years made him very well prepared for the energy that Chad brings. Yeah, and I'll say this. I will be cautious with which why I'm bringing up a lot. You're very focused, Desperado, on some of the negative things about Chad, and not that there's anybody can say that they have a source I have sources at the practices as well, to believe it or not. So I think sometimes we look for things and we ask things a certain way, and we hear what we want to hear. Here's the point. Chad is a high energy guy, sometimes gets the best of him. I think we've made our point on it. We don't need to focus on it so much, and I would highly encourage you to not focus on it so much either. Let's see here. Corey says that I'd really like to see is Auburn keep the fouls under 15. Good luck with that. Some of that has a lot less to do with them. Jackson says, I'm sick of my 21st birthday, but at least I get to listen to this. Well, Jackson, I am honored, and happy birthday to you. So everybody, please wish Jackson a happy birthday in the chat. We would love to make you feel better on this evening. Unbeaten Lake says we caught Florida at a really bad time. They were extremely hot at the moment. I think they shot above what they typically would, and so it is very much a case of bad timing. But they are a good football team. They're a good basketball team, and so I want to give them some credit. I knew as soon as I made that statement, which really didn't mean it how it sounded, that somebody was going to pick up on that. Nothing slips past you, WT. Nothing slips past you. There you go. Bunch of happy birthdays all the way around. There we go. Neil says, nothing. I'm not concerned if Auburn loses to Bama on Saturday. Nothing matters until March. Well, I disagree with you. It does matter, but the most important thing is getting to the tournament and then just going from there. Certainly, you help yourself if you're the number 1 seed. That usually means you get the location favorably. That means you usually get the lesser of like the 16 seeds. Hopefully, no surprises there, because now it is true that a 16 can beat a 1. 16 can beat a 1. All that's out there. What do we got here? Bryant says it would be awesome if the starting 5 score in double digits again. Wasn't that nice? Wasn't that nice? All of them in double digits. Hey, I'll take 2 guys at 20 points again. That was pretty good, wasn't it? That was pretty good. Auburn will be in the tournament. That's a given. What we don't need is what happened last year. Well, why'd you have to bring it up? I think I would be curious. You wish one of these multiverse things sometimes you could view into and just see what happens in this scenario. What happens if Auburn drops every single game that is left? And I'm including what happens with how they place in the SEC tournament at that point after losing every game. And then, like, what would that look like? How would Auburn be perceived? Would it be the ultimate collapse of all time? Keep the number 1 seed so we can have that semi-home court. I know we played on fields. Home court advantage. Yeah, playing in Atlanta for the Sweet 16 is going to be pretty awesome, pretty sweet. If we can do that, if we get the South region, I will be there. I'm ready to hit shut up and take my money. Shut up and take my money right now. WT says, I still think the SEC messes up with their championship game being on the same day as selection. I think it hurts us most years. Interesting. I think I know why you say you think it hurts us, but I don't know that I would agree with that. A lot of conferences finish up on the same day. The problem is going to be is that the final games take place on the Saturday before that. So you really don't, I'm sure there's some NCAA rules in place that you can't play a game unless it's part of a tournament. Meaning like both those games more than without 2 days break or something like that. So they won't be able to do that because it starts on a Tuesday. Let's see here. What else we got? Beaten Lake says that we've slowed down offensively a little bit, but I think it's a good thing. Save the energy for the end of the season. Well, I hope that we're not slowing down just to save some energy. I want us to stay full force the entire way through. Don't lose the momentum. Don't lose the focus. Somebody worked in an NFL reference too in Mahomes. Neil points out that this is the first time that I've ever seen this many teams in the top 10 from the SEC. It's a historic year. It's a historic year for Auburn. It's a historic year for the SEC. This matchup this weekend is a testament to that. And enjoy the heck out of it while you can, folks. I am so enamored with what's going on. If you go back and watch, live streams here on this show, on the Auburn Experience podcast, as we led up to the season, we're talking about schedules being released and tip off at tumors and preseason stuff, you will have heard me say a lot how excited I was for this season. And a lot of it was just speculation about, what was going to come in the SEC, but the non-conference, we were treated to a beautifully amazing and difficult non-conference performance, and Auburn outperformed probably everybody's expectations. And now we're competing in what's even more difficult, the SEC this year. That's just wild. It's just wild, man. Hugh, what's going on? He says, let's start a new campaign to change the Auburn and Bama game in football's name to the Camellia State title and year. Well, I'm going to disagree with you. I love that it's called the Iron Bowl. I get that it feels weird that it's not in Birmingham anymore. I'd actually be okay with it still being in Birmingham if they were in theirs, but that stadium they have now can't hold the numbers that you need for the Iron Bowl. And Legion Field, from what I understand, is just not good. So all that to be said, I love that it's called the Iron Bowl, and I don't want it to change. Certainly, you're entitled to your opinion, but if you want to change it, you're gonna have to give me a more intriguing name than that, because that's just about the state, and I think it needs to be about the rivalry more than anything, in my opinion. What's going on, Aiden? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. The Iron Ball has massive implications, declares first place in the SEC, the nation, and who has control over the top overall seed. So much on the line this week. Has Auburn ever gone undefeated in a season? I think we would know about it already if that was the case. Well, how about this? I'm going to answer your question the way it was phrased, and I think you meant it a different way. The answer is no, because they've never won the national title. But I think you mean in the regular season. That I do not know. I would assume no, or else we would know about it. Let's see here. The Iron Court. I'd like iron. I think it's just simple. Iron Ball. That's all. The Iron Ball. It works for both men's and women's. I am still of the opinion that if we're going to rename a lot of things that are related to Auburn, Alabama, it should harken back in some way to this Iron Bucket. It's not bad. Maybe we can figure out something without iron in it. But I like calling swimming and diving, and for Auburn, Alabama, the Rust Bowl, because what happens when iron meets water? Oh, wow. Neil's dropping facts, and now he's been challenged to name all of them. It's interesting. Unbeaten Lake says that we went 5-1 in 1905 to 1906, closest we've ever been to going undefeated. He is on the stats tonight. Look at him. He's like a machine, working overtime for us tonight. We appreciate your services, sir. Awesome. Iron Ball sounds like a 007 character. Kind of does, yeah. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think it's the best option if we're going to switch names for basketball right now. Iron bats. we're just putting iron on something with the sport now, okay? At least I was creative with the Rust Bowl, because what happens when iron meets water for the swimming and diving thing? Come on, we got to get a little bit. It is not terrible. It is not terrible. It is a good idea. Just because you didn't come up with it doesn't make it terrible. You're just jealous. That's it. We could call for soccer. We could call Auburn and the stub toes, because if it was an iron ball, you'd stub your toe. What else could we play off of here? I'm trying to think. The Tired Arms Bowl for volleyball, because if you had to hit an iron volleyball, it would be rough. I'm just circling the drain now at this point. It's that bad. All right, folks. We are right at about 10 minutes left, a little over than that. So we're not done quite to Iron Foot. I don't hate that, actually. I'll come back to that in just a little bit here. But If you would like to, please do take the opportunity to call in. We'll leave it open for a few more minutes here. I would love to hear from some of you all to end the night. We heard from Kevin, but what's stopping you? Give it a try. Just to come and stop in and say hello. It's not that hard. Some of you regulars, you still got to do it. So please take the opportunity if you'd like to this evening, even just to say hello. And you could call in and wish Jackson a happy birthday live from the show. Let me give you the rundown, and then we'll round out with the rest of your comments and questions to finish out the evening. You guys know the drill for a lot of this, but for those of you that maybe are a little bit interested in what we've got going on here at E2C Network, let me let you know what's going on as I stall. Here we go. If you like scheduled content, do not miss our post-game shows, Auburn versus Alabama, as we've been talking all night. Boy, oh boy, I am expecting big numbers in viewership for this one, win or lose, because the trolls will come out if we lose, and y'all will be there to troll Alabama if we win. So it's going to be fun right after the game, probably going to be in the 6:15-ish hour because of, delays and run overtimes and all that stuff. So look for that right after the game. Join us for that on Saturday. Sunday night, the Auburn Experience. Episode 114 is recorded live at 9 on Sunday evenings. Join us for that. We will talk about sports, culture, family. It's the Auburn Experience, the main show of everything that we do here. Join us for that. And we will have a post-game show for Arkansas next week on Wednesday, but it will be we won't be having our normally scheduled Auburn Family Night because the game will be going on during that time. So keep that in mind about the schedule coming up. After that, there really won't be any other scheduled content at this time because I will be going on vacation for about a week after that last live stream that I just brought up. So there will be content here for you. I'm trying to get some of that ready for you guys to have while we're gone, but I'll check in on social media and things like that. But I'm looking for a little R&R and taking the time before we get riled up for March Madness, baby. So excited for that. So excited. But that's the upcoming schedule for you all. All right, a couple other names that were coming through. Somebody said the Iron Foot, the Iron Rim, the Iron Backboard. We're just doing the Iron Cup. I don't hate the Iron Cup. It's not really that specific. World Cup, I know, but there are other cups for sports. It's not bad though, WT. That's not bad at all. Iron Eagle that seems like that's bad though. I think that's got some connotations we do not want. Iron Men for all. Oh no, okay. Now Neil, I'm letting you go. WT says I will call in again after Neil and Stan call in. Well, I've been working on Neil for years and he's yet to do it, so I don't know. You're gonna have to. You may not get to call in ever again. Oh, thank you, Robert. I appreciate that, and thanks for letting us know where you're watching from. I always like to hear that. Glad that you enjoy the stuff, and we appreciate your support of all of the stuff that we do here. Yellow Hammer Bowl. Hugh is all about tying the state stuff to it, and not just the specific rivalry. And I appreciate it. Like I get what you're trying to do there. It's just for me, it's not resonating as much. Now, I will say this: Yellow Hammer refers more to Alabama, the school, because they have, that one. So that's in there. Do you think that there will be more construction and building discussions on the Auburn Experience this week? Those always keep me riveted to the edge of my seat. Believe it or not, WT, I get asked all the time, when are you guys going to either have a new video, a new discussion, an update about that stuff? Thankfully, we are getting to the end, basically, because the season starts this weekend. I would assume there's probably some things they got to finish up. Of the baseball construction, I think you're still going to be getting plenty of construction updates from us on the end zone. But that at least is going to be dying off here soon. So I honestly am shocked how much people want to know about that type of stuff. I was born in the 80s. I was born in 87, Neil. Who are you telling I wasn't born in the 80s? Yellow Bowl for short. The if we're going to do something like that kind of Yellowhammer for Alabama, Yellowwood for Auburn, the Yellow Bowl. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't like it, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I'm going to lie. All right, Devin wants us to talk some baseball. Let's do that. Neil's just being ridiculous now. Can't wait to see this baseball team. We got special tickets to be on the field during warm-ups and the national anthem when they come to Arlington for the Shriners tournament. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to pay attention to. I have been fighting the urge to go to Auburn this weekend, y'all. I've really wanted to, if nothing else, to just go down there for the opening night, to be out there on the War Eagle Wall for the first time. I got a I need to stay since we're about to travel somewhere else. Got some of y'all know kind of some stuff we had happening last week here at the house, which is, kind of got us a little bit down right now. So I need to kind of stay around the family and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I wish I could be there to cover it for you guys. It's just not going to work out this time. But it is time for Cobb to have a vacation. He needs one, so I can be ready to go. Forged in the paint. Is that like a slogan for it? Iron Ball forged in the paint? Not horrible. I've heard worse. How did this turn into an Iron Bowl in all the sports workshop night? I love it. I'm not complaining. But did not anticipate there be that much interest. Unbeaten Lakes Yellow Bowl has got me at least thinking about it. That's the first one tonight where I said, let me think on it a little bit. Anyway, back to this baseball for a second. I hope you guys saw the starting lineup, the rotation for pitching. It's a brand new pitching rotation. Keep in mind, this is just the first series, but Caden Fisher, I think his name is, or Cade Fisher from Florida, he is going to be starting the night off. Now, traditionally, what I'm familiar with is in college, typically you want to have your best starter on night 2 or day 2, because either they'll salvage the tie for you in the series or they'll win it outright for you. So I'm interested to see if that's going to hold this year that way or anything like that. But I was happy to see that they released the pitching rotation to get ourselves familiar with it. I like that they announce it a couple days before the weekend series starts, because I love to know that type of stuff. Name it the Apple Bowl, since Cook is forking over all the money, but that doesn't include Alabama. Neil's just now trying to find every obscure reference to Alabama that he can and just throw it in there. And then finally it worked out. The Dustbuster Bowl. I imagine WT can be the sponsor of that one, because he has the only t-shirt that's out there in existence and ever will be. Can y'all believe? Think about that. Somebody did the research to figure out when that happened. It's 2025. I started really investing in live streaming stuff right in the middle of COVID, the tail end of it. We've been doing this kind of thing in some format for almost 5 years now. I've been doing some type of content creation for E2C, the Auburn Experience, whatever, for over 11 years now. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. We're going to get out right on time, so I appreciate you all being here and hanging out. Yeah. Mike, it's Micah. Good to see you. Micah, just in true fashion, you got here right at the end. I'm literally doing the sign off. You're going to throw me off with the whole changing of the name. So you got to make that a little bit easier for me or something like that to keep track with you. But thanks for stopping by at the end. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. I'm looking forward to the matchup on Saturday with all of you. Don't miss the post-game stream. It's going to be a ton of fun. And thank you guys for being an awesome, good little family within the Auburn family. Thanks for hanging out, and War Eagle.